Ooh, I'm really pale. Look at me. But I know it's the screen here that whitens me out. Waiting for people to come on before I speak. But I'm here. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Jax West, just a supporter, no relation to the family. I do not talk to Stephen. Used to, but he's mad at me now. Oh, I should go because I know I got an email from Marnie that I haven't read yet. Go to inbox. Oh. Nice. I went and visited Marnie and Melissa on Wednesday, and I brought a little something for each of them that you have to fill out a form, and then they may or may not get it. Afternoon, Sherry. And so last month, I think it was, I was at a Barnes and Noble because, yeah, I'm surprised bookstores do still exist because Marnie's kids were doing a book signing for their book, My Mom Marnie, that you can get on marnieying.com or also on Amazon. That's written by her 3 kids. And actually, I still have to do something with, I've got 3 autographed copies here to try and raffle off to try and get some money for Marnie's legal fees. But while I was there, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a book for my next visit with Melissa and Marnie. And then when I went on my last visit, I totally forgot to bring the stuff. So, and hello, Katrina. And so I remembered this time. And Marnie writes poetry. And is pretty good at it. And it's something when we've talked about, because again, Marnie doesn't want to just take supporters' money, you know, and we want to come up with ways that you get something for the money. So when we talk about doing some kind, you know, raffling stuff off, something that Marnie suggested that she could do is she would write the winner a poem, you know, so it would be a Marnie original that is written just to give to the person who pledged X amount of dollars or something like that. Hello, Darren. Good morning. So I wanted to get her a book on poetry, but I know nothing about poetry. And so I asked her dad, who is her favorite poet, because her dad was at that book signing. And so he suggested David Frost. So I bought her a book of David Frost poems. And then Melissa, because I keep trying to push her into, because Melissa is a good artist, and I keep saying she needs to draw. Hey, Snooze. Because it's something to take her mind off of things and keep her creativity going. And her favorite thing is monarch butterflies, where I also keep telling her to draw me a monarch and send it to me, because well, everything looks open on this camera right now, but I've got this space open on my arm, and I said, draw it and I'll tattoo it. But she hasn't been drawing. And so I got Melissa a book on butterflies from North America, because she likes to look at a reference to draw stuff. So I thought maybe that could inspire her into doing drawing. And I know she likes to draw stuff for like her family for Christmas as a gift. So maybe it'll inspire her to go back to drawing. And now I don't remember which one of them had told me a while ago that they wanted like a pocket calendar, you know, to write stuff down on. And I wasn't even sure if they'd be allowed it because I don't know what the rules are on what they can have and can't have. I know books wise, they can only have paperback. And like with magazines, if there's any of those subscription cards in it, all that has to be ripped out and all this stuff. I don't know. So, but I got each of them a book and then each of them a pocket calendar. And the pocket calendar for Marnie, because Marnie was an avid scuba diver. She loves scuba diving. She loves going looking at wrecks and, you know, treasure and stuff. And it's stuff, there's all kinds of rules on when you see stuff, if you can take stuff or you can't. But she's really interested in the history and all that stuff. So I got her where the cover of it is like a bunch of fish underwater. And then for Marnie's, or for Melissa's, I think it was butterflies. So now the email I just got from Marnie says, I just went to pick up the booking calendar you brought on Wednesday. You didn't have to do that. How did you know that I love Frost? And you have no idea how much I needed that calendar. Of course, the ocean theme fits. Every time I look at it, I will imagine I am underwater. The guy at property said you are only allowed to drop off one book, one magazine, and one newspaper per visit, but he let me have the calendar anyways. And I'm going to assume saying I'm only allowed to drop off 111 because then I was actually dropping off 4 because I was giving 2 to each inmate. So, but that's good because I was wondering if, you know, are they going to get these? Are they not? I'm not sure, you know. So, all right, let me scroll from you. Drew saying, what's with that camera? Yeah, it's so Jeff bought me a new web camera. And he thought it looks better if this thing has this tube on it. When he first did it, it was literally a toilet paper roll. Now it's some plastic thing that reminds me of like the plastic cap that would go on top of, you know, like a spray paint or something. So now I'm like 007 in this circle. Or I've also compared it to Porky Pig. You know, that's all, folks. We should put up a poll. Do people, you know, so do people want to continue with this or to take this off? Because he just thinks it's too distracting or whatever to see this whole room that I'm in. So it doesn't matter to me one way or another. I think it's weird. I don't want people looking at me at all. It being zeroed more in on me just kind of freaks me out. But that's also why, you know, people will say, oh, you're very whited out or whatever. I don't care. I'm not somebody who, you know, I know what I look like. I'm not trying to, you know, be something I'm not. So it's like, yeah, look at my dog instead that's chewing a bone behind me. Don't look at me. These aren't the droids you're looking for. And then since I'm talking about that right now, let me get into, and I haven't scrolled, I know there's more comments right now, my trip to Manitowoc. So that's coming up fast and furious. And so Tammy, who I work with so Tammy owns Words Matter Publishing, which is a book publishing house. And then she branched that off into the WMP Justice Review, which I'm a team member of, which focuses on cases of wrongful convictions and such. And that's where the Marnie Ying case comes into play. And so then she's got WMP TV, which is a channel on Roku, which I know nothing about Roku. I still haven't looked into it. I know my bedroom TV, when I turn it on, says something, you know, Roku. So, whoops. So it's something Roku, but I don't know the details on that. So I'm supposed to be doing a show on her Roku network where Tammy had wanted the show to have my name in the title, which I think is creepy and weird. And so then she had suggested Just Jax, which I liked because I love Will and Grace, and it made me think of Just Jack, you know. And then when I brought up that title to Marnie, she suggested Justice with Jax. So that's where we get now. Right now I have a Facebook page that I titled Justice with Jax that will be connected. And there's a website now too. There's justicewithjax.com, but I haven't done really much with that yet. So my trip to Manitowoc is where we'll also film like the first episode or first few episodes probably for Justice with Jax on going to the different spots in Manitowoc. And so the camera crew would be coming with me to film that. But then Jeff, being who Jeff is, I had said to him I wanted to make sure that I had like some kind of good microphone for doing it and not just going off whatever when you're out and about. So I've had a documentary crew that's been following me around for the last 2 years or so on one of my activist things. And so I messaged them and asked them, you know, what kind of microphone should I get for this kind of thing to make sure it sounds good. And so they made some suggestions. And then Jeff came home last night with this box of stuff of where he bought this microphone and blah, 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 blah. And then he also ordered some video camera that's supposed to be here today, that then all that stuff will be hooked up to. And the way that camera has some kind of Wi-Fi or whatever that can then connect to your cell phone. So like Jeff could be using that camera filming me at Cuss Road, you know, so you would see me at Cuss Road, and then there'd be a picture-in-picture on that the little box in the corner of what you're seeing there will be whatever my cell phone is showing. So if I was doing some close-up of something at Cuss Road, you would be seeing that in the little bloop, you know, along with the full view of me. So we're going to be playing around with that stuff. And you know, obviously we'll be going to Manitowoc. So lots of new toys. Let me scroll and see if there's any other comments. Ann says, hi, everyone, and hello, Ann. Ryan says, any trout in that pond yet? Nope, no trout. Our pond is still all koi and such. You know, we need to do a separate pond of natural fish. And Kate says, you're in a hole. Yeah, I know. I think it's weird. So Drew says that cam sucks. Ann says, take it off for heaven's sakes. I don't even know how. How is this on here? Oh, he's got it taped on here. Let me see. Allie says it's much better without the tube. Okay, let me take this off. Oh, are you staring at like my boobs right now? All right, tube is off. Now you see a lot of the room that I'm in. Let me scroll. I don't know if this should come down some more. Heather says, hey, Jax. Hey, Heather. Ann says, but even if we're just glancing, it's still better to glance with the normal, the old picture, not staring. Promise. I still have Candy Crush lives. Hey, Cindy, glad you were able to make it. And Peggy and Shelby and Maureen. Kate says, is there any new drama? Oh, drama. What new drama? The only drama that I know of, that's still weird. I don't know where to put that. The only drama that I know of that I'm involved in it's just, so I had made the post saying that I was going to Manitowoc and asking for suggestions of where to go. And I also had that post on my Justice with Jax page that's public. Somebody tagged Earl Avery in it, and then Earl went in there and made a comment because he's a shithead. So, you know, that means that the family knows now that I'll be going up there, and, you know, they want me arrested. So hi, Earl and Sandy and Carla and all your goons that are watching me right now, because for some reason you just always have to watch me. I'm not going to go on your property, so don't worry about it. I don't care about you. Truly, I don't. So that's why I'm not telling you guys when I'm going. Could I be going this weekend because I have new camera equipment? Could I be going during the week next week when they should be at work? You don't know. So Heather says, thank you. I was getting claustrophobic. I'm majorly claustrophobic. Jeff and I were watching last night. We watched that Bear Grylls show where, you know, he takes the celebrity and they go through like horrible terrain or whatever. And it totally looks fake to me on things. But they were in a canyon thing in Arizona that looks beautiful. But it's, you know, these tiny crevices that they have to like force their way through. And I was like, nope, I'd be out. My claustrophobia would be crazy. No way. Not happening. Cindy likes the webcam. Good. So, what else is there oh, and then in Stephen's case, you know, the state had requested an extension at last minute, and it was granted. So now we go to, I think the date is February 11th. Kathleen tweeted about that yesterday, saying it's no big deal. It's expected. You know, this is just what our court system does. So it's, you know, nothing bad or good either way. It's just this, it's just a way that things get dragged out. Hello, Rebecca. I don't know why Heather's asking why were 7 pairs of Teresa's panties taken. Maybe because Kratz is a pervert. Yeah, I don't know. Something I want to touch on, and this is very delicate, and please listen to me here and follow directions, okay? So one of the moderators here, while I was just out running errands, had sent me a message that Melissa's aunt, who runs Melissa's Facebook page, made a post that Melissa's dog died today. And then while I was at the store, because I didn't know how long this live was going to be, so I grabbed myself some popcorn. While I was at the store, Melissa's dad, Paul, called me. And Melissa's dog, Oreo, has been sick for a while. And so the significance of Oreo is that's Melissa's dog. Melissa got him. He was a puppy right around the time that she was taken into custody. So she didn't get to have this puppy very long, you know, and her parents have been taking care of Oreo. And the last year just has not been a good year for Oreo. He's had a whole bunch of tumors and will have a hard time walking and all that. And it came to a head today. And so Paul called me, like I said, and told me he had to take Oreo in, and Oreo was put to sleep. Paul was quite emotional about it. He was crying. He said once again he wasn't able to help his daughter and keep her dog safe for her to come home. He didn't know why Oreo couldn't hold on until Melissa came home. I mean, it's a really sad thing. And Melissa does not know. So please, if you're somebody who writes Melissa letters or anything like that, do not say anything about Oreo. The next time Paul will talk to Melissa will probably be Sunday, and that's when they're going to break the news to her. So please, 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 you know, don't mention anything to Melissa. I wouldn't be talking about this at all, except her aunt made it public, and so people know about it. And so now I'm just hoping nobody reaches out to Melissa, you know, because her parents should be the one to break that news to her. Melissa and I did just talk about Oreo on the visit on Wednesday. She does know that Oreo's been in bad health. So, and I told her that one of our moderators for Stephen Avery Project is somebody who is very into dogs, you know, does a lot with dogs. And so they have already said, we talked about this after my visit with Melissa, that they would give Melissa a puppy when she gets home. So I had told Melissa that, and she was quite excited. So, you know, so there's no need for people to start saying let's do a fund and try and get Melissa a dog. That's already been handled. Melissa will be one of the Stephen Avery Project moderators is going to donate a puppy to Melissa upon her release. So, but right now, like I said, please don't say anything to Melissa if you write to her. And then after Sunday, once I know that Melissa has been told, then I will ask everybody to send her a condolence card, you know, that you can, you know, send her something. And I'll post in here. I'll have to go through my cell phone. One of my trips to Paul's house, I took some pictures of Oreo because Melissa had told me she hadn't seen any pictures of Oreo. So I took a few pictures of him. So I'll make a thread and post that so you guys can see pictures of him. If any of you have any artistic talent and want to draw a picture of Oreo, I know she's got one supporter that has done that for her in the past, that they've sent her pictures of Oreo, and she loves that. So, Melissa will need your well wishes shortly after she hears that, because it's going to be a tough day for her. So, but until you hear from me, don't do or say anything, please. Snoozes puking over Kratz taking 7 pairs of Teresa's panties. Rebecca says some were clean, some were in from her wash basket. Yuck. Well, Heather, they were using the DNA from that because they also took her, got her pap smear. Heather says, I saw that post. And Rebecca says, oh no, poor Melissa. Darren says, who is Melissa? So Melissa Kaluzinski is another one of Kathleen Zellner's clients, and I advocate for her. Melissa's been in prison for 10 years, going on 11 now, for a murder that she was forced to confess to that she didn't do. She worked at a daycare. She was in the room with toddlers. This little boy was in a bouncy chair on the floor, and she looked at him, and he was foaming at the mouth and a bad color. Emergency services were called. The boy was pronounced dead at the hospital. And Melissa, after many hours of interrogation without a lawyer present, she had said she didn't do anything many times. A lawyer was asked for, and she was denied a lawyer as they continued interrogating her. And they eventually say something to her like, you know, we know it was an accident, you know, say it's an accident and all this will be over. So then Melissa said she threw the kid to the ground. And they then also doctored medical evidence to try and prove Melissa's guilt. And so she's been in prison for 10 years. And as I said, Kathleen Zellner is her attorney. And so I visit with her. Heather says, does Melissa have chat on her tablet? No, she has to go to a kiosk to do like emails. But, and I said this in the live that I did on Wednesday after the visit.
Holy crap, I have a text message.
That just scared me. Sorry. Let's turn that off. Sorry, that was my husband who were in the middle of a divorce, so it's kind of throwing me right now that text came through. What was I saying? What was I saying? Where was I? Oh, Marnie doesn't have a tablet, nor does she want one. But Marnie had talked about that the Wi-Fi service was kind of sketchy and people weren't able to get good service. But luckily, Melissa says she's not having that issue. So Melissa is using her tablet mostly for music, and she's got a whole bunch of different stations that she's uploaded on there, some for her and then some for her roommate. She lets her roommate use her tablet to listen to her music as well. And then Melissa is using it to learn other languages, which is pretty cool. So, and I guess her tablet costs, for those services, it's $25 a month. And if she doesn't pay it in time, all the songs or whatever that she's uploaded will get wiped and she'll lose it all and have to start all over and find all those songs again. So she wants to make sure that she gets that $25 paid so she doesn't lose all that stuff. There is also a thing of, it's like $100 or $200 a year that would be unlimited access and she wouldn't lose anything. But she thinks that's a waste of money because she's also, thinking positive that something will happen with her case and she won't be there that long. So she doesn't want to buy a whole year and then not be there for a year. Hello, Samantha. Maureen says, what kind of popcorn you got? I always buy the smart white cheddar popcorn. I love it. Love it. Joy says, oh, I wish it hadn't been made public. Well, and that's what I said to Paul when he told me, make sure you don't tell Melissa. And I'm like, then it shouldn't have been up on Facebook. That post shouldn't have been made. But that's not up to me. So that's, I'm not going to say anything about it in Melissa's group because hopefully it'll just, whatever it's going to do there, it does. I just wanted to tell you all that, hoping that you all will listen to me, please don't, let her parents tell her on Sunday. I don't think anybody would even be able to get a letter to her that fast anyway, but still don't send anything pertaining to it until we know she's been told. Rebecca says, what a lovely lady offering a puppy. Well, he will be happy to hear he is a lovely lady. The person who's will give Melissa a puppy is a male. I don't know if he wants me to say who he is, but I'm going to anyway. Michael Ryan. Michael Ryan is, a lot of the posts that you'll see in gossip are actually made by Michael Ryan and is not me. I said that on something before to make sure you all know. So like there's a thread that's got a whole bunch of pictures of Richard Donovan. Oh, speaking of drama, Richard Donovan making a post about me the other day. Now I made a post showing you what Richard Donovan tried to post on Stephen Avery Project. He made a whole thread with, there's a ton of pictures of all this stuff about Richard Donovan and all that stuff that, and it says it's made by Stephen Avery Project, but, but it wasn't me that made that post. It was Michael Ryan, who is one of our moderators. And he is somebody that followed the Adam Brazil case very closely. And he had donated something to Adam upon his release since he was freed recently. And I said, okay, so, and I know Michael cares a lot about dogs and does a lot with dogs. So I said, all right, so you did that for Adam. When Melissa is free, you give her a puppy. And he's like, deal. So, and he's good for it. Michael is also somebody, like when I tell you that I went a year ago and I visited Dolores and I gave her cash, Michael had donated some of the money that I gave to Dolores. And I believe when I paid for Stephen Avery Project, which is something that's always used against me that I never understand, because I'm like, okay, I'm called a thief that I steal money, like I'm taking money from the family, but I paid for Stephen Avery Project. I don't know. But when I was purchasing Stephen Avery Project, or however you want to say it, some of the moderators from Stephen Avery Project kicked in the cost and helped me out with that, and he was one of them. So I know Carla and the like will make him out to be a bad guy. You know, he's somebody that will go at people pretty hardcore on Twitter. And we've had many wars over our last, how many years have we been doing this now? But and I don't do math, but you know, our little ragtag group of Stephen Avery Project moderators, the bulk of us have been here since the start. So we've been through many battles over these years. But he's truly a good guy, and really cares about about injustice in any form, whether it's somebody in prison that shouldn't be there or people accusing me of stealing money. Snooze says that breaks my heart. It does. And happy birthday to Jean. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You say it's your birthday. Ew, Heather saying panty butter. So we go from thinking of birthday cake to panty butter. Good job, Heather. Hey, Elizabeth. Jean thanking people for saying happy birthday. Dean says, got it, thanks. Natalie says, damn, I'm late. Natalie had actually messaged me, and she said, do you know when you'll be going live? And I'm like, I just got home, probably, you know, at 3:00 or whatever. And then I came on early. So not your fault, Natalie. I was just like, all right. I was going to do some other stuff to get me situated, but I'm like, whatever. I'll just go live. And hey, Maz, we talked about this on Wednesday. I don't know, Maz, I know you said you weren't able to see the live as it was live. I don't know if you were able to find it, because I do know it's hard to find the live videos after they've been posted, because it depends on if you're going through the browser or through a Facebook app on your tablet or your phone, that sometimes you won't have access to videos. So I did put, you know, so when you're on Gossip, the very first post you see that's pinned to the top is announcements. And there's like 13 or so posts in there once you click announcements. And so one of them is that I put the direct link in there to go to our videos tab if you're not able to find it. So hopefully that's something that can help you. Also, what's in there is the instructions on how to send letters to Stephen and Brendan, and I think Melissa. I think I've never done it for Marnie. I really need to do that. You know, so click on that announcements, that top post first, and you can see the things that I've tried to pin to the top. That's easy to find, and that's where you can find the videos. But Maz had donated money. She put money on my PayPal account before I went and visited on Wednesday, because it was Maz's birthday. Or was it your birthday just this past Saturday, or is it tomorrow, Maz? But Maz also has a birthday and wanted to use part of their birthday celebration to supply the food for Marnie and Melissa on our visit. And so I let both Marnie and Melissa know your food today is thanks to Maz from the UK. Marnie actually did email me yesterday a thank you for Maz that I took a screenshot of and messaged to Maz, so Maz could see, you know, Marnie's thank you for the money. So, and there's Rebecca saying, hi, Maz, happy birthday for tomorrow. Audrey says, divorce. So I've been separated from my husband for like 6 years now. It's a really weird situation. So yes, I live with Jeff, who's my boyfriend. My husband lives in the house that we bought 20 odd years ago. My husband is actually dating Jeff's ex-girlfriend. So it's weird. I know. And we've just been coexisting all these years. And then like a year ago or so, my husband decided to clean out our bank account. And so put me on lockdown where now he only gives me $231 a week. And I've had to deal with that for like the last year. And then it's finally, I'm like, dude, $231 a week, you know, and he makes a lot of money. And like I said, he's living in our house. And I'm like, I can't file for divorce because you took all the money. I have no money to pay for an attorney. And so my husband finally filed, but he's trying to do me dirty. So now I had to get a lawyer, which I have no money to pay for a lawyer. And somebody generously loaned me the money to pay this lawyer. And so I hired a lawyer and paid them that amount. Then they needed another like $230 or $224. So out of my $231, I paid that $224. So the last week has like been living hell for me, living on what's left over. And now today I messaged my attorney and I said, can you give me a status update on this? Like, how long is this gonna take? Because this 231, and I'm like, or can I get a job or can I not get a job? Would me getting a job then affect like my settlement? And so my lawyer told me that he thinks this is gonna take a year. What the actual fuck? What, a year? And then he's like, and you could get a minimum wage job that won't affect your settlement. So now while I was out to lunch with a friend, I messaged my husband and I'm like, my attorney says this is going to take a year. And he's like, no, why would it take a year? And I'm like, because it's contested. You and I do not agree. And he says, no, that's ridiculous. It shouldn't take a year. And I'm like, they're saying a year. And then he said, well, then the lawyers are going to get all the money. And I'm like, yeah, right. So we have to do something about this. So that's him now telling me, apparently he's looked into how much is in his pension, because that's a sticking point between us, because I'm actually entitled to half his pension. And he says he wants me to only take a third of it. So this is him claiming to me, you know, because I don't know if I can believe him on how much his pension is worth. So, yeah. So that's my divorce, Audrey. Remember, ask me anything. I'm like an open book when I probably shouldn't be, you know, that I say things that, you know, why do I tell people my business? I don't know, because I have a blabbermouth, I guess. Jean wishing Max a happy birthday. Rebecca thanking Michael. And questioning Richard Donovan. Richard Donovan. All right, so he's a slime ball that has been around pretty much, I think, since Making a Murderer came out. But at first he believed in Stephen's innocence. But he's also somebody that just likes to collect them all his favorite players from his favorite TV show. And he's also a drug addict. He's addicted to prescription meds and goes doctor shopping and makes up all these things. So he's not all there. He's pretty well drugged up, as you can probably see if you looked at Michael Ryan's thread with pictures of Richard Donovan, and you can just look at his eyes and you can see the guy is freaking high. So what happened with him once, between him and I, is he attacked a then friend of mine, who's no longer my friend, but well, I shouldn't even try and cover anything. Okay, so that person used to be, they were good friends with Barb, and then it was the three of us were all friends. It was me, her, and Barb. We all got matching tattoos that I've shown before. I don't know if you could see that. So we all got matching tattoos of the Brendan Dragonfly logo that Jeff designed, by the way. And the two of them had gotten their tattoos together. They were having a visit together. And so they had taken a picture of their two thighs with the tattoo on it. And then the two of them together sold that picture to TMZ. And they made a couple $100 off it. Then that person and Barb had a falling out. And another picture was sold to TMZ, this time of Brendan's bedroom, where Barb had been spending Brendan's money to put stuff in his room. And so it was a picture of stuff he had in his room, and then stuff that the Brendanites had bought for Brendan to put in his room for when he's free. You know, total waste of money, because you don't know when the kid's coming home. So why are you buying stuff to put in there? It's totally stupid. But that picture got sold to TMZ. And then they tried to claim that my then friend was the one that sold that picture, who at that time, since we were friends, they had told me they didn't do it. Now, when I find out that that person is a shady motherfucker, who knows? Maybe they did it. I don't know. But I defend my friends, you know, quite viciously. And so Richard Donovan had made a post accusing my friend of selling a picture to TMZ and taking that money. And so I came out swinging. And so he's been after me ever since. And so he does these things. So like the picture that he posted of me, he posts this picture all the time of me. And so I used to have hair that was like almost down to my waist. And I cut my hair off for Locks of Love. And this was before I didn't do my research. I didn't know that Locks of Love isn't really a great organization, so you really shouldn't give your hair to them. But that's what I did. And I cut it completely off. My sides were shaved at one point and everything. And so since my hair was short, I'm like, well, I had her cut it all off and bleach me blonde. So it was really weird, and I hated it, and, you know, hated the blonde. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to have fun with this. I will color, you know, make my hair a wacky color. And I was in the middle of my haunted house at that time. And my haunted house is all like teenagers and in their 20s or whatever. And so I'd asked them, what color should I dye my hair? And they said purple. So my hair had been growing out, where I had a faux hawk thing, you know, where I blew it all out. So it was standing all straight up, purple or whatever. In that picture too, I'm wearing, because I was working the haunted house at that time. And when the haunted house is open, I'm security. So I wear black, and then it says security on it or whatever. So it's a picture of me with the purple hair that I've posted, so if I post a picture, I mean, I'll post embarrassing stuff about me too. So I guess this really doesn't fit. But if I post it, you think it's something I'm going to be embarrassed of? No. So this douche likes to post that picture all the time. Like, oh, look, he got me here. Look, he's posting this picture. And it's like, I've posted that. I'm not ashamed of it. I cut my hair for Locks of Love and had fun with the color of it and spiked it up. I'm all tattoos. So, I don't know. So Richard Donovan is a guilter now, and he's a total douchebag. It's another issue that I have with Carla, Steven's niece, because she met up with him a year or so ago at one of their stupid rallies. I really advise people, don't go to the rallies. It's such a waste and an embarrassment. And so there is a picture that she took, and Angie, another one of Steven's alleged supporters, posing all happily with Richard Donovan, who has said things like he hopes Dolores dies. And then Carla will always act like she's so above all the drama, and that people are entitled to their opinion. Nope. Sure, people are entitled to their opinion. But if you think my uncle and my cousin did this crime, no, I have no use for you in my life. So I'm not going to be putting my head on your shoulder and taking a picture with you all happy, happy, joy, joy. Just not going to happen. So Richard Donovan is somebody who, he used to tweet a lot, but he's been completely tossed from Twitter, right? He can't be on there anymore. I mean, I know he kept making new names or whatever. So I don't know. And he's met with Kratz and his daughter's sister wife. I don't know if he's supposed to be in that stupid convicting a murderer. I don't know. But he's a total douchebag. And so he tried, when I made the post on Stephen Avery Project, the public page, that the extension was approved or whatever. I think that's what it was. And so that's where he made that comment on there that first I took the screenshot of before I deleted it. Because it's just dumb. Like, why would we, and why are you coming to Stephen Avery Project? It's, why are you following this page if you hate me and you think Stephen's guilty, and there's so many guilty pages? Keep your ass over in there. All right, let me scroll. Maureen says, why would the state want an extension apart from keeping them locked up? That's all it is, Maureen. It's, everybody's constantly running out the clock. It's our dumb system. So it doesn't, it's not anything nefarious. Nefarious or nefarious? It's just typical. And our system really shouldn't allow something like this. That these things should be able to be delayed like this. Where, like, let's go back to Melissa's case, is now her dog died. She wasn't able to be freed, and now her dog has died. And it's when everybody's all worried that Dolores won't make it till Stephen's release, so the system is stupid. Sorry, Jeff is messaging me. All right, Maz says, yeah, I watched the live, hon, after. Thank you. Well, thank you, Maz, for donating the money. Jeff is telling me now what I said earlier. He's saying the camera came today, so he's been playing with the new camera he got with the picture-in-picture thing. Maz's birthday is tomorrow. And Margaret is new here, and thank you. Well, thank you for joining us, Margaret. Natalie said, yep, Jax, you're in the bad books, making me late. What did I miss? I see the tube is gone. Well, better. Yeah, it was, people kept saying, get rid of the tube. So got rid of the tube. Where did I set it? So it's just like a plastic cap that he had Gorilla Tape to it. So I just set it to the side here. Heather says, why such a random number, 231? I have no freaking clue, Heather. I asked him, where do you come up with that? And he didn't tell me. So what he does is the joint account that we have that he cleared all the money out of, every Friday, he'll put $231 in it. And so then that's what I have to live off of for the week. And I know I say that I live with Jeff. So yeah, I've got a roof over my head and I'm not paying the utilities, but 231 is still, especially, oh my God, my gas bill, my car for all the traveling I do. Pat says, if he got the house and all the money, then what's left? Well, that's all there is to discuss, Pat, is, okay, so there's the house. There's whatever is in the savings, which I've been cut off to, so I don't know what's in there. And then there's his pension that he's in a union and has been in the union for 25 years. We've been married since 1992. Yes, 1992. So, I guess here it's a big deal that if a marriage lasts 20 years, and this is also a no-fault state. So, and then there's also, I guess I'm entitled to half his Social Security. Then there's my legal fees that he thinks I should have to pay my own legal fees. I'm saying he should have to pay it because, again, I don't have any money. And then because we've been married over 20 years, I'm entitled to maintenance. I'm entitled to him to have to pay me, a weekly amount on top of getting, my half of the house, the pension, and his Social Security. And he says, no, get a job. So that's what there is. It's just all money, Pat. Hi, Karen. Yeah, I'm okay. Margaret says, Jax, you know them personally? Who are you asking about, Margaret, since I've gone off on subjects? If you're talking about Avery family, yes. I've got a long history. Not long, since Making a Murderer came out. So, but I always go, ask me anything, fire anything my way, and I'll tell you. Thomas says, I don't think they will get out. Hope they do, but that's just been robbed of their lives. I know, Thomas. And, people always ask me to, when do I think they'll be free? And I can't give you a number because I just always look at our system is freaking horrible. And these people should never have been in there, ever. There is all the evidence in the world to show that they're innocent, yet they're still there. So I can't have a whole lot of faith. I do have a little twinge of hope for Brendan that maybe he'll get pardoned since it's a new governor. And he's getting all that pressure from celebrities and, innocence projects and all that. But will that backfire for, I don't care about celebrities. So now I'm going to really bear down. I don't know. So there's that little twinge of hope for Brendan right now. And then for Stephen, you just got to go that he's got Kathleen Zellner. And she has said, remember, or some of you won't remember because you're new, but I really have an issue with numbers that my brain is just, I don't have me do math. But isn't it that Kathleen has says it typically takes her 15 years to free a wrongfully convicted person? What? Sorry, I swear, people. So just so you know, what the fuck? That's horrible. That's, especially in Stephen's case, that he already served, oh my God, there's a fly in here, 15 years. Heather says she's friends with Barb again, though, right? I don't know if she is. I don't have any, I have no idea what happened with their Heather. It's like that's in my rear view, and I don't go stalk anybody and go read any of their shit or any of that. I don't care. People will send me screenshots of stuff that pop up, and I appreciate that because sometimes I need to be made aware of something that's going on, but I don't know. Rebecca says every account he had was removed from Twitter. Ha ha, Richard Donovan. Anne says, thanks for that, Jax. I was thinking of the weirdo guy flipping his money in that video, but I do remember seeing that pic of you with the hair. Didn't see the point in it, so I've got a better idea now. Oh, good. Heather says, what is your dog doing behind you? Eating a bone. Because I went to lunch with a friend of mine. Then I stopped at the store to pick me up a treat, and I got my 3 dogs a treat. So right now they're all busy eating bones, and you'll probably hear them growling at some point too when one decides that they don't like their bone anymore. Now I want the bone that you have. So that will happen. And Margaret says, I think your dog is eating your cushions. Well, that's also, there's a sheet over that couch because the dogs are allowed on that one. But, and it's not that dog because that's Mickey right there. Mickey. Hey, Mickey. That's Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. And now Mallory's coming over here since I said Mickey's name. Mickey's not the one that chews up the couch. It's the little shit, Maddie. Uh-oh. And Mickey just dropped his bone, and so now Mallory is picking it up and walking away with it. And so now Mickey just went over there to go get the bone that Mallory had. Whatever. But anyway, so the little dog is the one that chews it up. So like this couch back here is one of those, it's just 2-seater thing, and it's got the console in between. And so the console is now all chewed up from that dumb little dog. But yeah, the dogs are allowed on that couch, so I try to keep a sheet over it to try to prevent the chewing, but the damage has been done. Anne says, the guy flipping money might have been on Twitter rather than here. I get confused all the time between Twitter and here. I hear ya. Debbie says, dog has found some kind of treasure. Yeah. Maureen says, Colborne was even sitting behind Brendan in court with a smug look, even escorting him into the car. Yeah, that infuriates me when you see that. Oh, those people. How? I don't know how they live with themselves. I really don't. They know he's innocent. He's just a kid with a low IQ. And I don't know if you can truly repair what Brendan has lost upon his release, because he's still captured in the mindset of a 13-year-old kid. You know? Natalie says, ask anything. Can you go into a bit of detail on how you met and befriended the family, Barb, Carla, etc., for those of us who weren't members of the page back then? Also, how and when you became involved or knew Sandy, etc. Sorry, being nosy. Okay, so here's my, and I do have an article, and I've posted it before. Maybe I'll post it again, that I had titled My Making a Murderer Story. And any of you who are not new, and probably those that are new now, can see that I'm long-winded and I can ramble on forever. So sorry if this takes up a little time to tell my story, which actually I'm writing a book on my story too. But so Making a Murderer. I watched it the weekend it came out, not knowing anything about it. Became obsessed, did all this research. There were all these different Facebook pages. I was following everything. And Stephen Avery Project was created, not by me, but by Curtis Bussey. I'm trying to make sure I'm following the exact timeline. Then it was Wiegert and Fassbender were going to be speaking at a law enforcement convention that was going to be a town over from me. And Stephen Avery Project had made a post saying that if they were to schedule a protest of that event. Would anybody be interested in attending and or helping? And so then I reached out to Curtis right away. I didn't know him, but I reached out to him saying, hey, I'm the town next door. I will absolutely do whatever I can for this. And so then I became like the boots on the ground for that, where I first contacted the venue, or was it the venue or the police? I can't remember, because at that time I wasn't an activist like that, so knew nothing about organizing a protest, which now I've done so many, I can't even count how many protests I've run. So I didn't know anything about what the details were to do that. So I had reached out to the local police department, all that, to find out what the rules were for having a safe, legal protest. We organized an official protest of it, and due to the protest, Fassbender and Wiegert bailed on the event. So the protest didn't ever need to happen. And when I had been trying to organize that, since I didn't know anything about it, a girl that I grew up with who lived like behind my house, and we're Facebook friends. We don't see each other now, but you know how that is, that you're Facebook friends with people you knew once upon a time. I knew from posts that I had seen in my timeline that her husband had done advocating for the Amanda Knox case. So I asked her if either she could help me or if she could put me in contact with her husband on, what do I have to do, any advice he had or whatever. And so then in talking with him, his name is Bruce, and he is the founder of an organization called Injustice Anywhere. And Injustice Anywhere finds cases of wrongfully accused, and they advocate for their cases. And so Amanda Knox was like a real big one. And so then in talking with Bruce, he said that Injustice Anywhere wanted to advocate for Brendan, and they wanted to start a Facebook page called Free Brendan Dassey, and he asked if I would run it. So so there is a Facebook page called Free Brendan Dassey that I run. I'm the admin for, and then it is also attached to the Twitter page, which I believe is Free Brendan Now. I don't do Twitter, so it's any post that I make on the Free Brendan Facebook page, it automatically goes on the Twitter, but I don't go to Twitter. And so then the next thing that was happening, so this was before that event was canceled, that Strang and Buting were kicking off. It was their very first tour, and they were doing it in Milwaukee. And so I bought tickets for that, to go to that. And then so did Curtis, who owned Stephen Avery Project. And Curtis was going to be coming down here for the protest of Fassbender and Wiegert. And so I had told him, I have a big house and I've got a spare bedroom. You could, stay with me. And he's like, okay, thanks. So now, since we were all going to be at that Strang Buting thing, I'm like, all right, or, let's meet up so we can meet in person now, since you'll be coming down for this event. So then at that, Curtis had also bought tickets for Carla and Barb and Scott and Steve were there. And so was Richard Maher. Richard Maher is the guy that had been on Stephen's jury, and then he was dismissed before the end of it, that guy. And so then after the event was done, we all met up and chatted in the lobby and such. And so Carla and I became really friendly first. And at that time, Carla and Barb didn't like each other. They were together at that. They'll be together at times because they're family, but they hate each other and put up this phony front. And so then I wanted to go to the salvage yard. And I was also, was I making Brendan shirts at that time? It's all, I can't remember it all. But I know when I went up there, I was bringing shirts that Jeff made that I was giving to the family at that time, but I don't remember what shirts they were. So I met them at the salvage yard office. It was the people in the office were Barb. I don't think Scott was there that day. Chuck, Carla, and Carla's husband Stacy. And so this is my, we hung out in the garage for a while, and they were talking all kinds of shit about the major people they were talking shit about was Kayla and Sandy. They hated both of those two. They talked about them a lot. And then they also told me how they hate Steven, that they hated Steven, and they were so happy to be rid of him that he went to prison the second time around, because they said when he got out after the first 18 years, he treated them all like pieces of shit. And that they just had to swallow that because they wanted pieces of his 36 million. So, and Steven knew they had to take his shit. So that's why he would continue to treat them as shit. So, and it's funny too, because when I was going to the salvage yard, I don't know if it was that time, because I think I've been to the salvage yard 3 times when I was allowed to be there. Now, they'll call the cops on me if I go. Carla had told me to make sure I text her right when I get there so she can meet me there, because she wasn't allowed on the property. So she was going to be doing a sneak onto the property. I have no idea which. I think it was Dolores who didn't want her on the property. Dolores does not like Carla at all. So just a weird dynamic. But I was first, I thought Carla was my friend. We talked all the time. Carla and her husband Stacy and one of her daughters have been down here and were guests in my home. I've been to their house. And so where the first downfall is so we were preparing at that time, it was worldwide rallies. And it was one person, one of Carla calls them her angels. One of Carla's angels, meaning her moderators, was in charge of these worldwide rallies. And it was, you would have to propose to her if you wanted to host one of these rallies. And then she would have to approve you to do that rally. And so I'm like, I would help with whatever you need. So then it was asked of me to organize one in Chicago, because it's a major city and it's where all the attorneys are. So I started doing the legwork on that and finding a location and doing what was needed for that. Somebody else had said they were going to be doing one in Madison at the Capitol in Wisconsin. And so then I was made to be the spokesperson, because the person who was in charge of saying yay or nay to people for having a rally didn't want to do press or whatever. So then I was assigned that role, that I was to talk to all the press. Then Jeff made these rally shirts that Jeff designed the logo for the worldwide rally, and made these shirts that people were buying to wear at the worldwide rally. And then somebody decided they were going to do one in Manitowoc. And instead of going through the protocol that they were supposed to do by going to the lead organizer, they just started organizing it on their own. And I said, okay, well, now there's going to be one in Madison, which is not far from Chicago. Then there's Chicago. But now if you're saying there's going to be one at Manitowoc, anybody who would live in the Madison area or Chicago area, you're going to want to go to Manitowoc. That would be the major one. At least that's what I think. So I'm like, then there's no reason for us to have these other ones. We should just have that one. And so then it was agreed that I would drop my Chicago one, and then I would join the group that was organizing the Manitowoc one. And now I can't remember the way that one girl worded it on what she wanted me to do with but it turns out I now had to do everything for it. Because I thought these two women who were doing it ahead of time had already organized everything, because that's what they said they did, but they didn't. They did zero for it. They thought they were just going to show up and, we're just going to be these anarchists and do this. And it's like, no, you have to do things legal and right. So I'm like, you didn't get a permit? You didn't? And they're like, no. So then it's like, all right, we'll do this permit. So one of them was supposed to handle the permit. And then she calls me and she's like, I don't know how to do this. Can you do it? Can you fill this out? So then I had to fill out the permit. And so now I was the point person, since I had filled out the permit, and I had to fax it into Manitowoc and all of that. So then Manitowoc reaches out to me and they tell me they're going to charge me thousands of dollars to get this permit, because they wanted me to have a multi-million-dollar insurance policy for this event. And I said, I don't have to do that. It's my constitutional right for a legal protest, peaceful protest. And they said, no, it's not. And I said, yeah, I'll be on the public sidewalk. And they said, it's not a public sidewalk. That's our sidewalk. And I said, no, it's not. That's a public sidewalk. I can stand on the public sidewalk and protest, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they disagreed. So then I contacted the Wisconsin ACLU, and I told them what Manitowoc was trying to do, and asked if they would help. And so then they responded with, yep, we're on board. And so then they reached out to Manitowoc, and they now said that they were representing me, and any communication in Manitowoc, whether it's email or voicemails or whatever, anything that mentioned my name needed to be turned over to the ACLU, since they were now representing me. So since ACLU got involved, then Manitowoc agreed that, oh yeah, we don't need to pay all this money and have a permit. We can stand on the public sidewalks. So, but you got to remember too, that was Manitowoc Sheriff's Department. Those are the ones that did everything to Stephen. I then also had to talk with the Manitowoc Police Department, because it was really their job to do anything at the courthouse. They were cool. I had no issues with the Manitowoc Police Department whatsoever. There were people that were all worried. They've heard these things like, when you're doing a protest, you have to keep moving, and if you stop at any point, you can be arrested. And I was getting all those things clarified so that we would be there, we would be legal, we would be safe, all of that. So now the original girl starts to get upset, because one of Carla's angels, and now you have to hold on a second, because the dogs have been eating these bones, and now Mallory is begging me to go. Let's go outside. You must have pieces of bone all over. All right, so one of Carla's angels wanted to be a part of this, even though she wasn't a part of any of the organizing, but she took it upon herself to start reaching out to press. And then, so one press outlet she reached out to wanted to talk to me and the other two girls who were actually organizing the rally. And so then that person reached out to the three of us and said, hey, this news outlet, well, it's like an online newspaper or something, something Giggles, Hey Giggles, or something like that, wants to talk to you guys. Are you guys all free to talk to this person? She did it in one of those Facebook phone calls. So, and the other two refused to even be on the call. hear about it, to discuss it. And so then when I found out what it was, then I messaged the girls, because we had a group message with the three of us on what the girl was asking about. So then the one girl, this set her into a rage, because she's like, this is my event, not yours. And I'm like, this is ridiculous right now that you're throwing this temper tantrum, that you want to be the only one to talk to press. I could give a shit to talk to the press. Go ahead and talk to the press. I don't care. That's not what this is about. And so here we are a week out from the rally, and this girl is throwing this fit. And mind you too, she quit like 3 different times of, I'm not doing this, and then would come back and blah, blah, blah. And so, and I remember this phone call. I was at Jeff's print shop. Okay, sorry. That's my mom messaging me now. I was at Jeff's print shop because now people had ordered shirts and signs and stuff that they wanted to do at the rally, that to save them money, that they wouldn't have to pay for the shipping, I was going to take it up with me when I went to the rally. So there was Jeff and I finishing these late orders that we would drive up there. And I was on the phone with Carla, and we were talking about this girl throwing a fit. And then Carla had said, well, you know, if I wanted to, I could pull rank and tell you all who's doing what. And I went, oh, no, you can't. You're not the boss of anything. You know, and mind you, this is supposed to be my friend, but now she's telling me she can pull rank and give me orders. No, you can't. So then the next morning I wake up to, I had gotten a message in the middle of the night from Bruce, the guy from Injustice Anywhere, that we do Free Brendan together. And one of the other things we had done is there was a petition that is called the Juvenile Interrogation Protection Law, which was also dubbed Barb's Law. So it was a petition, you know, that Injustice Anywhere had their board and lawyers work out the wording of. I had talks with Laura Nyrider to get things, you know, so we had done this petition. And this was a petition that somebody from the UK had originally started this petition, and they had it, that person is a crazy person, but they had it worded all improperly, and it was going to the wrong person. It just was never going to do anything. And so we had taken that petition over and reworded it and everything. So I wake up the next morning to a message from Bruce telling me overnight that somehow we have now lost access to the petition, because Bruce would be the one that would make any updates and all that the password and everything had been changed to it, and that Carla had contacted him, letting him know that he should know, since he works with me, that I steal money. So it jumped to that immediately, because I had said to Carla that she's not the boss of me, that she instantly went to trying to sabotage everything I do. And so going to this other person that I work with and giving him the lie that I steal money, because that's the go-to that everybody has. I steal money. I steal money. So what to do about this rally now that I had organized? Barb, Scott, because I was friends with Scott at that time, and Stacy, Carla's husband, begged me to still go. Begged. And I was really torn on it, because this was something that I had worked hard on. And I believe in the innocence of those guys. But my presence would have now just caused drama and take away from what the rally is supposed to be. So then Jeff and I started to look into how could we get these shirts and signs and whatever up there. We looked into overnighting and all that. It was way too expensive to do. So what we did is there was somebody else who had bought or didn't buy, actually, because these were people who were going to be paying me at the event, who was going to be driving up there as well. And so then we agreed I would meet that person halfway and give them everybody's stuff for them then to bring to the rally and pass out to people. Not a single person paid us, but they got their stuff. They did things like, I sent a shirt for Carla's daughter. And then Carla purposely wore it that day to be in your face, haha, I'm wearing this shirt. That then nobody paid me for any of that stuff. The banners, the signs, we sent up wristbands that said, one side says free Brendan and the other side says something for Steven. I can't remember what it says. I still have a bunch of them. And, you know, I was being ripped apart by Carla online to supporters and her telling people these awful things about me. Yet we still drove to Wisconsin and delivered all of that stuff that nobody paid me for. And including that man who met me halfway to pick up that stuff to take it, he jumped on that board too and was going around saying that he never got his stuff from me and that he paid me and he didn't get his stuff, when I met him in person and handed it all to him. So from that point on, Carla was out to get me, but that drew Barb even closer to me because Barb hates Carla. And so then I became pretty close with Barb and Scott, you know, that I've been in their house. We did a live together. But there was that other person, you know, that it was the three of us girls. And that girl was on Brendan's visitors list. And she lived in the time in Michigan. And so it would be easier for her to drive to my house. To drive to my house Friday night, spend the night at my house on Friday night, and then Saturday drive up to Brendan's prison because I'm not that far. So she would come down here and we would hang out. Barb was always invited to come here too when she was here, so we could all like hang out together. But instead, then Barb got all jealous that the two of us were getting close and it was like leaving her out. So then there was this other supporter who was visiting with Brendan, who Brendan is close to. And the one that was my friend got all upset and jealous about that girl visiting Brendan. And visits, there's always a limit on visits. They can only have X amount of visits, blah, 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 per month or whatever. And so the person had made this comment to somebody else: if her visit with Brendan screws over my visit, I'll cut her. Is she really going to cut the girl? No, but that's what was said. And so that person, Tracy Keogh, who was my friend's like second in command in running Brendan's page, she wanted to take that leap over her and become number one, not number two. She ran back to Barb and tattled to Barb that number one said she's going to kill a supporter, which then got Barb and Scott yelling at number one. And I'm now caught in that crossfire. And so then number one was like off the page and all that. And at that time too, I was a moderator of Barb's Brendan page. And then Scott got pissed at me for what had happened is that Barb had told me on the Friday that she was giving her blessing that I could be added to Brendan's visitors list. So that's what happened on Friday. On Saturday is when now Barb is told that the girl had said, I'll cut you to a supporter. By Monday, now, and I can clearly remember this too, because it was, again, during my haunted house. So I'm at my haunted house and I am on the phone with Barb and Dawn, who was the Brendan psycho. She's really weird with her attachment to Brendan. So I'm on the phone with both of them trying to fix their relationship with the number one, because this is all just, did she say I'll cut her? She did, but whatever, it's stupid. Why is this even happening? This is all dumb. And then by Monday, Scott was removing me from Brendan's group and made a post saying, can you guess? I steal money. Where does the money thing come in? We had done 2 different Brendan shirts. There was an orange shirt and there was a green shirt. And one shirt, the profit was going to Barb. And then the other one, the money was going to go to Brendan's lawyers. Every month, Jeff, who made the shirts, and we only did this over 2 months or 3 months. So every month, Jeff would give me a statement of this is all the orders. And then he would also take a screenshot of from his PayPal, he would put the money into Barb's PayPal. Okay. The lawyer shirt, it was a little more complicated in how you could give the money to the lawyers, because they didn't have something like online that you could donate to. And they told me they wanted a handwritten check. And not that much money was coming in. So it's like, all right, I'm not going to pay the lawyers until this is done then. So if it's writing a check, I'll just write one check for the whole amount when it's done. So when it was all done, the lawyer shirt only sold, there was only like $300 and something. And so I had said to Drizzen in an email, which I have because I have posted that screenshot before. I asked Drizzen, where does he want me to send this money to? And he asked how much it was. And I told him how much it was. And he said he didn't care about it. But he was concerned with the money that's been stolen from the original account that nobody can seem to find, which is before my time. So then I had gone up to Barb and Scott's house because we did the Facebook Live from their house. So it was Barb, Scott, and Pete Dassey. I brought the money in cash for Barb. And I rounded it up because that's what I do, because it was 300 and something. So I handed her $400 in cash. And I even said then, joking, because I'm thinking these people are all my friends, because I'm constantly stupid in thinking these people at first are my friends and then get screwed over every fucking time. But I had made the joke of maybe I should wait to give you this money when we're on camera. Ha 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 ha, that's all funny. So now for years, I've had to deal with people claiming that I stole the money that I handed to Barb in cash. And I do have this screenshot for whatever reason, just like a year ago or something, somebody brought that up again because it always comes up. And Barb posted, yes, Jax gave me the money. All money is accounted for. What the fuck? But still to this day, they'll say I stole shirt money, even though we're actually owed lots of money from lots of different people who have never paid us. So, now the family, wait. There's just so much and I forget so much. Stephen Avery Project. So Curtis Bussey, who had started Stephen Avery Project, was under constant attack by Carla and her angels. They catfished him. They did everything they could. They caught, he was married and he and his wife separated at one time over the stuff that they were trying to mess with his personal life. And him and his wife were able to come back together. And she was pregnant with their second child, and he just couldn't do this anymore because it's tough. I'm not in prison. So no matter what I go through, it is nothing near what those guys go through. but I mean, like, look at the other day, Richard Donovan coming out of the blue and having to post a picture of me. Why? Everybody, is seriously obsessed with me. But I can handle it, whatever. So when Curtis had decided he had had enough, he couldn't take this beating anymore, and he wanted to concentrate on his family, his moderators suggested that he turn over Stephen Avery Project to me, because now I had a friendship with them, because, I run Free Brendan, and they were people that are on the good side of things too, so we were friendly. And so they suggested to him that he hand over Stephen Avery Project to me. Curtis said, well, he wants money for it, because I can tell you, we get messages in Stephen Avery Project all the time of people claiming they want to buy the page, or they could put ads on the page or something that would make us a whole lot of money. We've never done any of that. So Stephen Avery Project is not monetized, even though, I do question whether or not I should do it. Should I monetize the videos and make some, because no matter what I do, I'm going to be accused of stealing money and trying to make money off this case, when it's so far the opposite. So because Curtis is getting all these people that are offering to buy the page, he's like, he wants some money for it. And so we negotiated, and we came to whatever the amount was, which I don't even remember what it was, because again, I'm not the numbers person. And Curtis had asked me not to tell anybody that he sold it, because he also is accused of being in it for money, and he just didn't want that added to it. So it's like, fine, whatever. I don't care either way. So, but then, because Curtis used to visit Stephen regularly. So on Curtis's last visit with Stephen to tell him he's done, he's walking away, he was turning over to me, he let Stephen know who he was turning the page over. He gave Stephen all my contact information and all of that. So from that's when I got my first phone call from Stephen. Stephen called me because now I owned Stephen Avery Project. So now we're going to work together. Since this is Stephen Avery Project and he is Stephen Avery, I was completely upfront with him, and that Curtis wanted to be paid for it. And I let him know how much I paid for it, because I also wanted him I wanted him to know too, that it was a couple $100. It's not like it was bajillions of dollars. It's not worth squat. It's dumb. And so meanwhile, Carla is all upset about this, because she wanted Stephen Avery Project for herself. At the time that I took over the page, I believe it had like 106,000 followers, which is a lot. I mean, we're at 206, 252 right now. So, we've grown since Curtis started it. But she wanted it, because this Stephen Avery Project is the very first Making a Murderer support page there was. Curtis started this in December of 2015 when it came out. So this is the biggest, this is the most known. That's why Carla has she named one of her pages the Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey Project. She's naming it similar. People do that. I see people, who change their names to be something similar to Stephen Avery Project or MAM Gossip, because now when somebody goes to search that, the other one will come up too, and that's how our people will find you. It's all a game. So Stephen and I would talk. I was not on his visitors list. It was just Stephen knew he could call me whenever he wanted to call me. I wasn't demanding of his time. Then all of a sudden I didn't hear from him anymore. And it's because basically a lawyer chick and her buddy Angie, who Angie's in the picture with Richard Donovan, they would visit with Stephen. And Stephen would tell me nobody talked more shit about me than those two. They just destroyed me to Stephen every chance they could get. So Stephen stopped calling me because of what they were telling me. Then so at the time, so he stopped calling me at the time that he had first put them on his visitors list. You have to be on a list for 6 months before you can be removed. So after they had been on the list for 6 months, he had then decided, for whatever reason, he was removing them because Sandy asked him to do it. Because Sandy said those girls were using her just to get close to Steven. And once they got put on his list, now they wouldn't come over and have their little slumber party pillow fights with her. And it made her mad. So she wanted them removed. And so he removed them and then called me up again. Now, with that timing, all those people on that side accuse me of, oh, I'm the one that told Steven to take them off. I could give a shit who Steven visits or talks to. It's not my business. It's his life. I don't care. It had nothing to do with me. So then Steven says he's going to put me on his list. I was like, okay. I visited Steven, I think, only 3 times. I believe it was only 3 times. Then I don't hear from him. Because I never will randomly go visit him. He would call me, and on that call, I would discuss when I would go visit. Because again, you're only allowed X amount of visits from blah, blah. So I never want to do anything that's going to take away from any of his other visits, So he's always going to know by phone call first if I'm going to come. So I haven't heard from him. And then, so now Sandra makes this post that Steven told her that he wanted this post to be made, that he took me off his list, and I can't remember all that she said. But so basically what had happened there is I'm being accused of talking shit about Dolores, because at that time Dolores's washer or dryer or both were broken and she needed a new washer and dryer, and so the family was trying to get people to donate money for it. And all I had said is, you don't ever give money to that family. Give your money to Dolores directly. Send it to Steven, because Steven can take money out of his commissary and give it to his mom, or give it to Dolores. No money should be going through Carla, Chuck, or Earl's hands. Nope, nope, nope. That's all I said. But the way Sandy tells it to Steven is, I'm telling people not to help out his mother. Absolutely not true. So, and Sandy is somebody that I used to defend. I used to defend her hardcore, because the family all hates her and she hates the family, but it's that kiss up thing because they all want to be in this limelight and to be in the Stephen Avery world. So we all have to do this. So, we can say Stephen loves us best. I'm not going to play that game. I don't fucking care. So Stephen doesn't like me. Nobody in that family likes me. Dolores had no issue with me when I visited her. And I know that's something that people have said, why don't I go, when I go up there, go visit Dolores? Because I'm not going to put her in the middle of all this. It's stupid drama that doesn't need to happen. So no, I will not, I will not be reaching out to Dolores. I will not be going on, trying to go through the salvage yard. I won't be doing any of that. I don't break the law. We do have the time that, because I've done the Manitowoc field trips before where we were live. And since, hi Carla, hi Earl, that they've got fakes in here. So they're watching right now. So everybody say hello to them. So they watched my live video. Earl started messaging me while I was on my drive home. But, so I was already done and driving home. But so now I was fucking with him and pretending I was still there. And he was threatening me. And so that's when he said he'll get me for trespassing. That's why if you ever see somebody who's, been around here a while, they know the whole trespassing joke, because Earl's illiterate and that's the way he called it, was trust passing, not trespassing like you see behind me. And so I had gone to the deer camp. I was at the Redont deer camp. There were no trespassing signs anywhere there. The driveway or path to get to the deer camp is right at the end of that cuss road, dead end. And so I walked that path because also it's on that path to the deer camp that Kathleen had said Teresa was buried for a period of time. So I was showing you all that. And then I walked up to the deer camp and I walked up to the berm because I wanted to show you how close or how far the deer camp is from the salvage yard for many reasons. You know, Rodant is claiming he's seeing a fire. Well, now you're seeing what the distance is. You know, what do you think about seeing a fire from that distance? I also wanted to show you that if somebody were to get Teresa Halbach at Cuss Road and leave her there, and they want to get back to the salvage yard, but they don't have a car, if it was like two people and one person's taking car one, how quick it would be for somebody to just run through the quarry and the salvage yard to get back to the trailers. So they saw, and Carla saw it, and so she called her daddy Chuck. Her daddy Chuck called Jason Rodant, or Josh Rodant, whatever his name is. And so then he filed a charge for trespassing because I was at the deer camp. So let me ask all you supporters again. I've asked this before. Am I not doing things that would help Stephen's case? Am I not showing his supporters things to show his innocence? So why would the family want me reported for trespassing at somebody else's property for showing people on these things on why Stephen is innocent? Why constantly go after his biggest support page? Why? While you ponder that question, let me go let my dogs back in. What am I doing that's harmful? I just call out the truth. They're only bothered by me because I know their money-making schemes of consistently trying to make money off of Stephen's case. No, I have a problem with that. Stephen has a problem with that. Stephen and I have talked about it, where he's like, they're free. They're free. They each have 2 homes. They have multiple cars. They have go-karts and jet skis and boats and snowmobiles and all that. You know, I know they constantly cry poor, you know, and try and say the yard's doing bad. It doesn't stop them all from having multiple homes and all these toys and doing all these things. And no matter how poor they are, they're not in prison. So why do you need to do something that's going to help Chuck or Earl? How does Stephen in prison have anything to do with them other than them telling people that he's guilty? You know, we listened to those 116 calls, so we know Dolores talks to her son a lot, and that costs money. So if people want to help her with that phone bill, that's awesome. Dolores mostly lives by herself because Alan stays in Crivets most of the time. You want to help Dolores? I've got no issue with it whatsoever. I just don't think it should be funneled through any of those people who are going to go, 1 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me. 1 for you, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for me. If the family was on the up and up, you wouldn't have me calling this shit out. So that is my connection with everything, I think, in my long rambling thing. And let me scroll and see what your comments are. Linda says 15 years. Oh my God, that's awful to think. Sonia says, hi, hey all, missed everything, I guess. Oh, I don't think you missed it. Maureen says, don't get book published before divorce or he will use that against you. I know, Maureen, now talking back about my husband and my thing, I'm torn on what I can and can't do, until this divorce is final. So it's like, I am seriously hurting for money because I'm not doing a good job of stealing money from all these people. I am hurting big time for money. And it's like, so do I go get a job? But if I get a job, can that be claimed in my divorce that I shouldn't be entitled to this or that because I have a job? Margaret asks, ever been arrested at any protest? Nope. Knock on wood, never been arrested at any protest. I've actually had very good luck. Knock on wood again. Natalie says, so they knew you were a supporter and they were bad-mouthing Steven to you right from the start. What the fuck? Horrible folk. Yeah, from the very start, Natalie, they said they don't like Steven and that he's a dick. And they're happy to be rid of him. Sonia says, something is wrong with this. I get stills. Okay, other people are saying fine for her. Okay, Sonia says, we'll watch tomorrow. Oh, Rebecca was at the London rally that year. Yeah, I recognize your name, Rebecca, that you've been somebody who's been around since the start. I'd be curious to know, Rebecca, though, are you somebody who originally, when things turned around on me, were you one that thought I was bad at first and then has seen differently? Or did you always know the accusations against me were bullshit? Or do you think I'm guilty? Carol says the suspense. Carrie, hi all. Rose says, I am so sorry, Jax. This is all horrible shit. So very sorry. I have my moments. I really do. There are times, I mean, I've just had the last couple days. I think it's because, I have that seasonal affective disorder too, that now it's cold and dark. So, because here it is, it's only 4:25 and it's starting to get dark already here. So I start to get depressed. And some things have happened as of lately where it's like, God, every time I try to help people, I get fucked, and all I'm doing is trying to help. So it just goes, do I continue helping or not? And instead of all this volunteer work that I do, should I find a job? So instead of me scrambling, and don't pull out your violin. I'm not trying to do a poor me story, but for the last week, I only had $11, and, so I don't eat, I'm eating one meal a day. It doesn't show because I'm a big fat thing, but, I have no money for food, and so it's like, so I'm trying to help all these different causes and all these different people. And then I get this blowback from all this stuff. And then also, I steal. And it's like, what the fuck? So why don't I just walk away from all of this, go get a job, make myself successful, that I'm not now eating one meal a day, Margaret says, I would buy a t-shirt if you have one around. I'm so leery of doing any kind of shirt sales, Margaret, because of all the accusations I always get. So the thing that I say is, my boyfriend, Jeff, you can always reach out to him yourself and order, whatever shirt you want. Jeff can make whatever you want. The only difference would be now is these shirts don't go for, that there's the big markup on it that we're trying to raise money for, Stephen or Brendan or whatever. It would just be, like you're straight up trying to order something. But if anybody wants to email Jeff at work, his email is jeff@advance, ADVANCE, offset, OFFSET, press. Jeff at Advance, no D, because that's a thing people always think it's advanced. It's not. It's advanceoffsetpress.com. So reach out to Jeff and, whatever you want, Jeff can print it. But deal with Jeff and keep me out of it. I mean, I'll get dragged into it anyway. They'll say I did something with Jeff to be able to steal your money from that. But I understand that people want shirts to wear to show their support of the different people. I have tons of shirts that I'm always making Jeff make for me. So, so I've got a Stephen Avery Project shirt, and now I've got Justice with Jax shirt. I've got a Marnie shirt, Melissa shirt, Steven shirt, Brendan shirt. I've got tons. I've got stickers on my car. I get it, so I get people wanting, to have that. Or you want something that says Avery Auto Salvage, all that. So email Jeff, go through him, tell him what you want, and you can work it out with him on what he's going to charge you and what shipping costs to send it to you. Rebecca says, why do you say UK lady is loopy? I can't remember her name, Rebecca. Jenny something or another. Oh, she's a crazy girl. Jenny something. I can't remember what it is at this time. And I don't even know if she's still around. But, we had lots of trouble with her. She caused lots of stuff. Jean says, you mean Amy? Yeah, Amy is who I'm referring to when I say number one. Margaret says, what does the sign read behind you? It says, no trespassing, private drive and property, and then it's Chuck Avery's name. That is from the salvage yard. This is the sign they had to try and stop people from going to their personal trailers. Jeff made them a real sign, a real nice sign that matches the one they have out at the road that looks all nice and everything. And I have a video that I've posted here on Stephen Avery Project and MAM Gossip before of when we gave Chuck the new sign. We presented it to him, and Jeff made him and Earl nice business cards. And so, this is something we didn't expect them to pay for. And I just said, the trade-off is you have to give me the old sign. So there's a video of Jeff and Chuck then walking down to, I'm so bad at trying to point to the stuff behind me going the opposite way, going to the sign and taking it down so the new one can be put up. So you see this sign in the first Making a Murderer, and then you do see the new sign in the second season, or whatever you want to call it. The new sign is up there that Jeff made because, we're stealing all this money that Jeff's going to make a sign and give it to you for free. I don't know. Cherry says, wow, Facebook delayed, just got notified you're live. Yeah, Cherry, I don't understand the whole when you get notified thing. And I don't know any of that stuff. So there's Natalie explaining what the sign is behind me. Jean says, you mean what's her name, not a lawyer? What's her name, not a lawyer is that the other Tracy Strunzi. She's the one that talked mad shit about me to Steven to get him to take me off or to stop calling him. Heather says, Sandy is jealous because you have a bigger platform than she does. Oh, where things turned, I think, with Sandy is Sandy and some other people had started their own group that they now call the official Steven group. It's always, again, the competition of everybody wanting to be the official Steven group. And Sandy gets mad at Steven all the time, and she has her hissy fits, and and then she goes and sells the story to the tabloid and talks shit about Steven. She got upset with Steven one day, and she does the thing too. When she gets upset, she leaves all of Facebook. She leaves all the groups, and woe is me, I'm so abused, and leaves. And so I was asking the other girl, Chaz, who's now changed her name on Facebook to something else or whatever. I'm not following all that. And so I had inquired to Chaz about Sandy's latest temper tantrum and said, is she okay? And she's like, she's just upset because, she wants to Steven to wise up already and know that they should be a couple. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's never going to happen. And she's like, what do you mean that's never going to happen? I'm like, that's never going to happen. Steven wants a family. Steven wants, when he gets free, he wants to have children since he was robbed of having children. Sandy is old enough to be his mother. And she's already burned him once. They were allegedly engaged, and she broke up with him over on media. He's finding out she's telling press before he's been told anything, that they're no longer a couple, where she said that she can't be with somebody that doesn't accept Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. And so I'm like, they're never going to be a couple. And I think it's odd that Sandy lets people think that they're a couple, because they're not. He thinks of her as a friend. That's it. And that's when Sandy turned on me, because she just really wants people to think her and Steven are going to get married down the road, and they are not. It's not happening. And that's not a jealousy on my part, because, and I've told this story before, but on my very first phone call with Steven, one of the first things I said to him is, I am not interested in him romantically. I am not looking to date him. No. And he laughed, but I have to put it out there, because I know Steven's so desperate for love, so I wanted to make it known from the get-go that's not happening here. I'm just a supporter. That's it. Hello, Jerry. Heather says, because his IQ is low. Yeah, Heather, that's for people that don't know, when Earl was messaging me and threatening me, he said he's smarter than me and he has a 40 ICOO, or however it had been spelled. And it took a little bit to figure out that's how he was spelling the word IQ. Christina says, preach. Jane says they don't want him out. Well, once he's out, their free reign is over, because Steven's the boss. So nobody's going to tell him what to do. And right now, because Steven has told them many times to shut down their Facebook, get off the internet. He doesn't want them on doing any of this stuff, and nobody listens to him. And they don't have to, because he's in prison. But once he's out, all their little fame and all their little fans, all that's going to go away. So they don't want him out. Heather says, because their hatred for you is stronger than their belief in Steve's innocence. Ooh, that's deep. Yeah. Well, because remember, how many times have we seen one or more of them have said he's guilty? Holly says, maybe they're threatened by you. Yeah, well, they are threatened by me, because I will use my voice to speak the truth, but that's why too, I know we get people who come into MAM gossip and then they get upset when I talk about this kind of stuff, but that's why I started this group. You will never see a live like this on Stephen Avery Project. I'm not going to go on there and talk shit like this about his family and all that stuff. I keep it off of there. Stephen Avery Project is just the case. That's all it is. I started MAM gossip as my place to vent. And so it was originally, we didn't really even tell people it existed. So there was only like 25 people in this group for a year, because you don't know who to trust, obviously, since there's always all of those SAC accounts and all that kind of stuff. So we just kept it to a really small little thing where we could be in here and bitch about what the family is doing now. And then eventually there was just so much that was going on that needed to be exposed. I'm like, So I put the plug on Stephen Avery Project and opened it up. And now we've got like 12,000 people or whatever, allegedly, in this group. But that's what this group is for. I'm going to give it to you straight about what's going on in this case. And I also want to be able to talk about other cases in here, because the world doesn't revolve around Stephen and Brendan. There are plenty of other cases of injustice out there. Or people want to talk about just true crime cases, the staircase, whatever. So we open the doors a little wider in MAM gossip. To, Rodney Reed, people want to talk about that case, talk about it. OJ Simpson, whatever, So MAM gossip is not just about Stephen and Brendan.